But here tonight, well, it's early days in the Betfred Super League season, but Hull Kingston Rovers are up against it already with a host of injuries and just one win so far. Many pundits have the Robins down as relegation candidates, while it's a different story for their opponents here tonight, the Castleford Tigers. They've made an impressive start to their season and can go top of the table with a win here at Hull College, Craven Park. Well, as mentioned in our build-up, Hull Kingston Rovers are missing several key players, including hooker Matt Parcell, who joined their lengthy injury list this week, while prop Rob Mulhern is suspended. And a late blow for the Robins just ahead of this game with the withdrawal, because of injury, of the versatile George Lawler. So Will Dagger is at full-back. In form, Ben Crooks on one wing and Greg Minikin the other. In the centres, Sean Kenny-Dowell, who captains the side, and Kane Linnett, the halves, Joe Keys and Ryan Brierley. The forwards, Marr, Litton, Murray, Staunton, G and Hadley. And on the bench, Garbett, Trout, Owen Harrison coming in because of Lawler's withdrawal, and Elliot Minchella. Now the Castleford Tigers have had a smooth start to the season. Daryl Powell virtually spoiled for choice with Adam Milner back to fitness, so Jacques O'Neill drops out. Rankin, Alferts, Matautia, Shenton, Clare, Truman and Richardson in the pack. Watts, McShane, Griffin, Holmes, McMeekin and Massin on the bench. Millington, Milner is back, Blair and Daniel Smith. Coach Daryl Powell. And the Roger Millward Trophy will go to the winners here tonight in honour of the legendary former number 6, whose number is retired at the Hull Kingston Rovers club. And there are the two captains, Michael Shenton and Sean Kenny-Dowell, leading their sides out onto a very immaculate pitch, you have to say, here at Craven Park. It's in great shape. Conditions challenging for supporters, I would say. It's bitterly cold. They are spared an icy wind as well, but it's going to be a bit nippy out there, and the Rovers will need to find a bit of heat and passion tonight after a dip in form after such a good start to the season, beating Wakefield, looking impressive in the Hull derby, and then they've dropped off and their form has looked like the form of a side that could struggle, Terry.
Yeah, they'll admit themselves that the form in the last 2 weeks hasn't been the same. They need that same sort of attitude like they showed in the opening 2 rounds, where they were competitive, they played for the full 80 and just put the last 2 weeks really behind them, and they can't hold back. Yeah, there's injuries, there's players missing, but they're up against a Cass side that have scored more tries than anybody else in the competition, so they know themselves, Cass, and Daryl Powell will tell you that if they want to go on to the next thing and they want to win silverware, their away form has got to be good. They only won 5 games out of 14 last year, so they know that they've got to get it right. He's transformed the side, and this Robins side know that they need to play, and they need to play well tonight.
Well, Hull KR are in a simple situation. They've conceded 99 points in their last 3 games, and Barry McDermott allowed me to use his calculator. That's over 30 points a game. Barry helped me with that one. And that's the first issue that Hull KR need to do. They've got to prevent their opponents from scoring as many. They do have the issue of getting over the try line when they're in attack, but I guess we'll see how they go here tonight with a far more confident approach.
Chris Kendall is our referee tonight. Robert Hicks is the video referee. And the pitch just clearing before the game gets underway. Hull Kingston Rovers seemingly up against it, but in adversity can come strength and unity, and they've already experienced adversity with the Mossy Masoi injury even before a ball was kicked in the Betfred Super League season. Can they draw on that, the Robins, and defy many experts and overcome the informed Castleford Tigers here tonight? It's Daryl Powell's side on the defence in this opening set of 6, and the Robins with first touch of the ball. We've seen them already this season, and they looked in sparkling form in the derby against Hull. They scored what's already being talked about as one of the tries of the season, if not the try of the season. So they've got the firepower.
Yeah, they were really good, and that underdog tag can really spur you on sometimes. I said before, it's what your attitude's like. Can you play for the full 80 minutes? Can you apply yourself? You can't be disjointed like they showed last week in the loss.
That's a kick for Rankin to field at the back for the Castleford Tigers. And now here's their informed wingman, Darrell Alfords, who has 4 tries to his name already this season. And they'll be looking to bring him into the action, as they will with this man, the other wingman, James Clare, who's not in bad shape either. He got 2 tries against Wakefield last week, so both wingmen are threats for the Castleford Tigers.
Well, every time Hull KR kick the ball, the back three do an awful lot of damage. They've got speed, they've got power, and then on the back of that, you've got Alexa Watts, who carries the ball strongly. That form any attracts.
Once to Hull Kingston Rovers, Liam Watts, who's down on the ground there, struggling to get to his feet to play the ball. Now George Griffin starting at prop once again, and then Richardson just dinks a little kick, but Dagger at the back collects it for Hull Kingston Rovers.
It's not a bad set, is it? When the first set of 60, you have the ball, you get to your kick, you turn the Hull KR team around, and they've got to bring the ball back away from the line now. How strong will they be? Everyone's got to work really hard here if they're in a red and white jersey.
Dean Hadley playing the ball. It's a 40-20 effort, but across comes Rankin. Still technically a low knee, Jordan Rankin, from the Huddersfield Giants, but very much part of the setup, the Castleford Tigers, making his 22nd consecutive appearance. Not bad for a low knee.
Well, Hull KR choosing to kick on the third play, and if you kick early, you've got to make sure that your chase is good and you control the next few sets. This is too quick from Castleford playing the ball. They're leaving players behind on the ruck. They're not getting back the 10.
They're rolling forward. They're inside the 40 now. And here is Mike McMeekin. McMeekin gets the pass away to Matautia. Matautia taking them all on. Eventually, 3 of them make the tackle for Hull Kingston Rovers. Richardson across the field and then drops the ball off to Griffin. Wrapped up in the Rovers tackle. And then Richardson, another dink into the corner. Alfords just got a little nudge there. Kane Lynette, very devious.
Well, they're going to return their run, but they need to be able to show in this set here that they can gain ground. Well, they will do with the referee's penalty. That certainly assists as Mike McMeekin protests, but it's all to no avail here. Dinked over kick. You could say there was an obstruction there on the wingman. The referee and the official didn't see it, and eventually a penalty here for interference. Danny Richardson just won't release Ben Crooks quickly enough.
So that's a good result for Hull Kingston Rovers. They defuse the kick and then they get the penalty and get even further up the field.
Well, it's just a bit of fight. That's what you need. Tony Smith will be looking for them to try and win every play, every tackle that they're involved in. You've got to make sure that you understand your role and offload from them.
Here's Jez Litton, and then Litton into the middle of the field to Daniel Murray. Murray crosses the Robins 40-metre line. Litton, Dean Hadley shepherding it on to the former Castleford Tiger prop, Will Marr. With 36 appearances for the Tigers, Marr did, just over the halfway line. Ryan Brierley to Kane Lynette now. Lynette and Sean Kenny Dowell, the centre partnership for Hull Kingston Rovers, certainly bring a bit of size in that part of the field. Can they bring some impact? Here is Hadley. Tackled by Griffin, 40 metres out. Joe Keys drops a pass off, and that's good leg work. Staunton it was. The crowd appealing for a penalty. It's on the last. Little kick, crossfield from Keys. Alfords has lost it, and the first try of the game will go to Super League's top try scorer, Ben Crooks, who gets another one to add to his tally. 7 for the season as he climbed above his try-scoring rival and claimed that ball. Superb kick and a very cool finish from an in-form winger, Ben Crooks. Great start for the Rovers.
On the back of the penalty, they get up the other end of the field and they can cause some damage, can't they? They can't go into the shell. playing against this Castleford side. Ben Crooks, he seems to be the go-to man for them this year. 7 tries so far to his name. Quality 10. Look at this. Doesn't take his eye off the ball. Beats Matautia in the earth. And this is the sort of start that Hull KR are after.
Brilliant kick from Joe Keys. I worried really when they lost Josh Drinkwater at the end of last season where they would find those sort of kicks and tries from Josh Drinkwater. Particularly successful for Hull KR last year at setting up tries with kicks like that. Well, we've set up the first try with a kick. Up until tonight's game, Hull KR only scored 12 tries. Only one of those 12 had come from a kick. It was a very key part of their armoury last year, scoring on the last play. Can they score from this next kick?
They can. Brierley has converted. His second success with the boot this season. And Tony Smith's side off to a promising start here.
Well, 30% of Rovers' tries last year had a kick in it somewhere. That was more than any other team. They were very reliant on it and became the masters at doing so as well. That's a perfect example of playing to your strengths. Maybe they don't have the players who can make the breaks, the line breaks, the offloads to set up tries, but they were particularly good last year at exactly that.
Darryl Powell disappointed with the way they defended that kick?
Yeah.
Obviously, because it cost them a try.
Most definitely, and the penalty that led to giving them the field position. Look, this Hull KR side, they will play to their strengths. Everyone will understand what they've got to do in this game. Like you mentioned before, Bill, you look at the size of Sean Kenny-Dowell and Kane Leonard, you give them early ball opposite the likes of Michael Shenton and Matauti, them two will have a big influence on this game.
It was a great kick from Joe Keys, but there'll be questions in the Tigers' ranks about the time he was given to lace that kick so perfectly.
Well, especially when he's in form, isn't he? I think this man's going to have a real big game as well. Dean Hadley, he was good last week in the loss against Huddersfield. 52 tackles he made.
He wouldn't be in the starting lineup if Lawler had passed a fitness check earlier on today, but Lawler out with a problem. So Hadley starting for Tony Smith's side. Brierley kicks into the corner. Rankin is there.
Well, that's how you deal with Jordan Rankin. First of all, you get to your kick. Then all of a sudden you've got to chase hard on Rankin. Then on Alford here, big, powerful winger that he is. Lands on his front, looking for that quick play of the ball. Really impressive start of the year for him.
Try and score in each of the last 3 games. Is George Griffin now, once of Hull Kingston Rovers, made 20 appearances for the club back in 2012, 2013.
Well, even inside these first 10 minutes, there's a big difference between how easy it is for Castleford to gain ground in their set of 6. High kick now for the fullback to deal with.
Richardson's kick, pouched by Will Dagger at the back. Just turned 21, Dagger. Shenton with the tackle on him. Here is Sean Kenny-Dowell, captaining Hull Kingston Rovers tonight. The big name signing. Greg Minikin.
2 good tackles from Jake Truman, first of all, and Sean Kenny-Dowell, then Minikin. Hull KR themselves now with Kenny-Dowell, second caddy in this set, looking to play on the front foot.
Jez Litton stretching for it. Hadley shifts it onto Ryan Brierley, and Brierley almost through a little ankle tap from Peter Matautia, brings him down on the Tigers' 40-metre line, and that's the 5th tackle. Looking for a penalty. It's Dagger who hoists that kick. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. And Rankin does well, but Dagger follows up. Great work from the fullback there. The ball teasing the touchline. Rankin not sure. He did well to gather it, but then Dagger gathered him in.
Well, the kicking game has been absolutely exceptional, the way that they've started this game. Some strong carries leads them into that field position where they kick the ball on the front foot. Dagger doing a decent job along with Leonard to put Jordan Rankin under some pressure. And what about that for a tackle?
So, good result, promising results, and Will Marr charges back towards the Tigers' defence. There to greet him is Liam Watts and Mike McMeekin. Daniel Murray now. So the first 10 minutes of the game belonging to the hosts, who lead by 6 points to 0. Ben Crooks with the try. That is Staunton trying to get to his feet. He couldn't do so because of an infringement from Castleford. Penalty.
And this is a key part of the game for Hull KR. They had opportunities last week attacking the opponent's line, but couldn't put points on the board. Here's another opportunity. Here. 6 players so close to opponent's try line. They've got to certainly look dangerous. Referee wants him to go back. He wasn't quite in position. But what sort of variety, what creativity? How many of the white shirts are going to move here to cause problems for the defenders?
Well, here is Hadley taking a direct approach. Watson, Griffin do the tackling. Keys ships the ball on. Dagger darting through. Almost sliced his way through the Castleford Tigers defence there. The ball pops over the top, ricochets, and comes up for the Castleford Tigers.
Adventurous play that from Jez Litton. He just preempted that. He knew what he was trying to do. He couldn't get there because of the Castleford defender. Whether or not that Staunton should have just come a bit closer and just off his hip through the gap. Maybe that's what he was looking for. But good start from Hull KR. Good opening 11 minutes.
There's Liam Watts playing the ball. Truman now. Shenton, whose intervention diffused the situation just a few moments ago, ricocheting the ball back towards his own try line. Could have gone anywhere. Is George Griffin. Grand finalists last year in Salford colours. Griffin. Richardson, nice step, and then drills a kick downfield. It bobbles across this very firm surface.
Good vision, that wasn't it, from Danny Richardson. Jez Litton, you could see what he was trying to do, put the pressure on, but he managed to step in. And they're earning the right to play here, Hull KR. They're doing a decent job defensively, restricting meters from Castleford, and then looking to just get over the advances line as quick as they can every time they have the ball.
Litton, Marr, upended by 2 of his former colleagues in the Castleford side. Now Daniel Murray. 40 metres out now. Keys, oh, that's a poor pass, down on the ground, and it's seized. Who's it seized by? Sean Kenny Dowell. He points to Jake Truman. And what's the referee given? Head and feed to the Castleford Tigers.
They needed to do better than that then. You know, Matty Staunton got him a very quick play the ball. There's a lot of space here to go back, and Joe Keys looking to shift the ball in. He didn't know whether he was going to give it Staunton. He didn't know whether he was going to give it Sean Kenny Dowell.
What is a positive, though, for Joe Keys and Ryan Briley is the fact that they're running at defenders. I think I've seen games where they've just passed the ball on to people out wide. Defenders have drifted off them. They are attempting to commit people, hold them in, to create space for the big centres and players out wide, but obviously on that occasion it didn't come off.
James Clare plays the ball. Now here's Liam Watts getting the customary reception from his former supporters. Add to the fact that he's also ex-Hull FC. Double the volume. Just inside Hull Kingston Rovers territory now, the Tigers are. Here's Peter Matautia. Matautia just back after a 2-game ban. Plays the ball on the 40-metre line. McShane now. Started the season in good form as the Castleford Tigers hooker. Litton down low. And Danny Richardson. That's a wicked kick as well, and Dagger has come for it. He's lost it. I think the referee says play on. It looks as though Dagger had knocked that on, but the referee happy with what he saw, and Hull Kingston Rovers come up in possession.
He needed a bit more help, Will Dagger. Jake Truman was behind to play the ball, so Danny Richardson was going to be the man who kicked the ball. So you've got to isolate him, just like Jez Litton was doing on the previous play. Look at him under pressure, 3 players there.
No, beg your pardon, it's Rankin with a little tap back. And it was the Robins who came up with the ball and now bringing it away 30 metres from their own line. Here's Daniel Murray. And Litton kicks downfield, 40-20, and he's made it.
Again, Bill, I'm going to credit Daniel Murray, how quick he's playing the ball. Created space on the right-hand side where there was a mistake. Created space for the kicker then on that play. And now they have the benefit of another set of 6 from the prop forwards work. Here he is again.
Here is Daniel Murray, and the Castleford Tigers find themselves trotting back towards their own try line, and they could be punished. Just short. It was Lytton, the architect of this situation, trying to pinch one. Hadley now. Griffin has him all wrapped up. Lytton again. Keys, this time the pass sticks. It's Sean Kenny Dowell and Michael Shenton having a real tussle there. Two seasoned campaigners, Shenton 34, Sean Kenny Dowell 32. Joe Keys, here's Wilmar again, relishing this opportunity and rising to the occasion. That's the fifth tackle. Will they try the kick again? No, Brierley's going to run it. Gets the pass away, does Kane Lynette. The ball is still alive, it's a knock on. The referee says play on.
We're going to have a look at this,
Will Dagger picks it up. Will Dagger picks it up and kept playing. And Chris Kendall, well, he's gone to the video rep, but Will Dagger stopped and gave himself away there. Two knock-ons.
It's unusual for the referee then to play on if he's seen two knock-ons. You'd have thought on the first or the second, he'd have said, I've seen enough there at that point.
Well, he's keeping Robert Hicks busy anyway.
I think Kane Lynette does really well, doesn't he, to keep the ball alive. He's works the last tackle. That's not backwards. Is it a knock-on from Mike McMeekin? That's the question. Was he playing at the ball, or was it forced onto him? I think the video referee is certainly convinced it isn't a try. It'd probably be a turnover at this point. It was interesting to look again at the Mike McMeekin incident. It's tapped back by Brierley. There's contact in there, McMeekin.
I don't think so.
All right.
Couldn't see anything there, Phil.
Well, the big plus for Hull KR is where they're making mistakes and where they're pressurising this Cast side. Look at them, they're looking to shift it, get out of trouble. That's credit the defence of Hull KR.
There's a penalty for the Castleford Tigers. It's their first of the game, I think.
Well, that'll really hurt Tony Smith. His side have worked extremely hard in the opening 17 minutes. They've got Castleford where they want them. They don't want to give an attacking side like Cass that field position to make the players where they want.
It allows Michael Shenton's side to tap on the halfway line. And it's Shenton in possession. So can they, for the first time really tonight, threaten the Hull Kingston Rovers line? They have coped with everything that's come their way so far. Of the Robins, here's George Griffin. 35 metres out. McShane, here's Richardson. Richardson shows it and then gives it to Matautia. Matautia a real handful, and Ryan Brierley needs some assistance in dealing with him.
A lot of movement on the left-hand side. They're looking for a big shift here.
McShane, they've got the numbers. Players in movements. They managed to wrap up Oliver Holmes before he can keep the move going, but McShane gets the pass away. Truman puts the kick in, and Shenton was trying to scramble for it, but the Robins managed to scramble it over the dead ball line. It'll be a goal line dropout.
Well, Greg Minikin came to the rescue, man who used to wear the Cass colours. Shenton doing what he does best, putting pressure on his opponents. That left edge is so dangerous for Castleford. Greg Minikin knows that he's going to get a lot of pressure from that man's side.
Instructions coming down from Darryl Powell to the sideline as Will Dagger launches the drop out up to the halfway line. And here is Grant Millington coming off the bench today for the Castleford Tigers.
And making a lot of metres after contact. Hull KR have committed 3-4 defenders at times and still not been able to stop the Castleford player from moving towards the try line.
Here's Nathan Massey. Massey making a hash of the play, the ball. It's a knock-on, says Chris Kendall.
That's not going right for Cass and Massey. They're looking to play the ball backwards. It comes off his foot, it rolls forward. The referee, Chris Kendall, says that that's a mistake. If I'm looking at Hull KR, the way that they're defending around the ruck, if I'm Paul McShane, I'm looking at the spaces around the big men, sending up two players side by side, a little tip-on play might just pull them in. Don't defend the space out wide, defend what's in front of you.
So they've coped with what's coming their way so far of Hull Kingston Rovers. They lead by 6 points to 0. We've got more Super League action to look forward tomorrow night. Always a tasty fixture this. The Leeds Rhinos against the Warrington Wolves. Tomorrow 7 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena for that one, and more on Saturday with the Toronto Wolfpack against St Helens. That's 6 o'clock Saturday evening. Sky Sports Arena again for that one. 40-metre line in the Hull Kingston Rovers half as Wilmar plays the ball. Now Mitch Garbett, as both coaches make changes, throw fresh players into action. Garbett, one of them, and then Keys with the kick, the former London Broncos and Scholars halfback.
When your team are the underdogs, the best chance you've got of winning the game is if you're prepared to chase your kicks better than your opponents. And Hull KR, I'd say in this opening 20 minutes, have done that. You know, home ground advantage doesn't exist as much in Super League as it perhaps once did with modern day stadiums. Here at Hull KR, I still think it applies, and the home supporters are starting to believe. They turned up with very little confidence, but as every minute goes by, they're now starting to believe that this side really are in this contest and really pushing the Tigers fully.
Well, they're certainly throwing themselves into the defensive effort for the Robins, as Millington with the short pass to Oliver Holmes, who marked his 200th Castleford appearance with a try against Wakefield last time out, did Ollie Holmes. Here is Millington in his 9th Super League season. Plays the ball, that's the 5th tackle, and Richardson kicks into open space between Dagger and Crooks. Dagger picks up, Crooks takes off.
Then you've got a big 10 minutes coming up here, Hull KR. You've got to stay with the pace of the game, keep winning those little battles that they're winning, start believing in themselves as well. Because when you come into games and you look who's missing in your side, the big vocal voices in the dressing rooms that's not there, someone's got to stand up and take control. And as things start to go your way, you do grow in confidence as the game goes by.
Here's Garbett. They seem to be managing this game.
They're doing a decent job. I was really fearful of the key men missing, the 1, the 7, the 6 and the 9. Well, look at the way Joe Keys and Ryan Brierley are kicking the ball. They're doing a decent job turning Cass around and defending well. Just need to make sure that they're disciplined as well.
Brierley's kick is bouncing into the hands of James Clare eventually.
And even that kick from Brierley, spotted that the fullback and the 2 wingers were dropped back, so he kicks it into open space, knowing that the ball will bounce and it could go anywhere.
Here's Darrell Alfords now. Shane. Mike McMeekin. Just back in the side, having missed the opening 2 rounds, McMeekin, so just getting back into the swing of Super League. Massey plays the ball. Here's George Griffin now. Griffin, and onwards it goes to Rankin, and Rankin to Shenton, and Shenton hard to stop when he gets going. Gets the pass away to Rankin. 10 metres out they are now. The ball onwards to McMeekin. McMeekin, a little dummy. McMeekin over the try line, but has he lost that ball? He has lost the ball as he grounded it, or attempted to ground it.
Well, some things go for you, and as Mike McMeekin goes over here, he's met with Ben Crooks and Dagger, who comes over the top. He loses possession. But a worrying sign if you're a Robins player is not letting Cass get near your line to do that.
Ben Crooks has scored a try, he's just saved a try.
Well, that's one of the things that Castleford might start to get frustrated at, really. Again, you can hear the home support here. And all that for me is a reflection of the confidence that really the Hull KR side are growing in as each minute goes by. Some players at the start of the Super League careers here were doing pretty well to certainly lead here after 23, 24 minutes.
So Hull Kingston Rovers just into the Castleford Tigers territory. And they've survived. First real threat to their try line. McMeekin had been able to cling on to that ball, and scores may well be level by now, but Ben Crooks just managing to get a hand over the top. And then Keys doesn't get that one maybe as deep as he wanted.
Yeah, it seemed to be a hurried kick, didn't it, from Keys then. He was under a bit of pressure. And the speedster's getting in for Cass. Hull KR looking to pull the defenders in. See that Hadley's just gesturing to his teammates to come in and work hard for each other.
Darrell Alforts. Well, these two can serve up exciting contests. They certainly did last year when they went into golden point extra time, and it ended up 27-26. And Danny Maguire will be able to could tell us all about that with his golden point drop goal that won the game. Shenton. Here is Daniel Smith now.
There's another one of those little wrestling matches that's taken place, and again, Castleford won it.
On the last, Truman, a nice little kick that sits up for Minikin. Minikin hounded down by Adam Milner, who's back out there. Milner just back in the side after 3 out. We can go down to the sidelines. Jenna Brooks with news on Liam Watts.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. Liam Watts came off a couple of minutes ago with a finger complaint. The physio has been assessing it. He said that they'll make a decision whether he will continue at half-time.
Thanks, Jenna. Well, again, the Castleford Tigers frustrated in trying to create something threatening for the Robins to deal with.
Well, they're up against a stubborn side, aren't they? Defensively, they seem to be working hard. Looking to get this kick away, find the ground again.
Great kick.
Keys does well. Rankin coolly deals with it and then drops the ball off to James Clare.
Don't get bored of that kick chase. It's never going to go away in the game. When you have the ball, it's all on your terms. When you've got to defend, you've got to do that extra little bit. And it's Rankin there, spotted Mitch Garbutt.
Oh, he saw a gap waiting for him, and he didn't need a second invitation, Jordan Rankin. And look at the ground he has made up to that Hull Kingston Rovers 20, and the first time really that the Robins have dropped off defensively, and Rankin punished them. Here's Daniel Smith now. And can the Castleford Tigers capitalise on their fullbacks run from deep? McShane, Millington onto Truman. Truman's pass is to Rankin, but Rankin took it low down and got man and ball. McShane goes to the short side. Truman, neat little kick, and it's well dealt with by Greg Minikin. Went down bravely there.
And again, he's come up with a saver, hasn't he? But Mitch Garbutt's got to be aware that if he's late getting back defensively, that someone with a bit of speed is going to go and target him. As soon as he turned around, Jordan Rankin was there ready to ghost through that defensive line.
Hadley plays the ball. And this time the Castleford Tigers are up very quickly.
Again, 3 players gone. They're still within their own 10-metre line. Garbutt tries to gain 5 metres, but they're going to have to probably kick from very deep here now.
Big leg drive from the former Leeds man, Mitch Garbutt, and they are. It's Keys gets the ball away, but it's just landing on the 40-metre line, and James Clare will return it.
Even though Hull KR are in front on the scoreboard here, you just feel like they need a mistake. Castleford just quite content to just keep on chewing up those metres, grinding Hull KR down. You know that they've got some strike players in the centre field, as well as out wide. There's a problem with Clare.
Daniel Smith.
Nice carry from Smith, back against the grain behind the ruck.
It's the 20-metre line in Hull Kingston Rovers territory. Richardson having to adjust. Rankin gets the pass away to Matautia. Kane Lynette with the tackle on Matautia. 10 metres out now as Richardson goes across the field. Here's Adam Milner. McShane short pass. McMeekin will try again, and he'll be denied again, I think. He's held up just short.
I don't think I've ever seen a game where one team have had 4 men as many tackles as what Hull KR have done here tonight. I thought very often it would drain their energy, but here it certainly saved a try. 3-4 men involved here just to try and hold up and contain Mike McMeekin, prevent him from grounding the ball. But they're faced with a daunting challenge here now of trying to get up towards the halfway line. Some painful work now.
Crooks plays the ball. Yeah, They really are having to dig deep now, the Robins.
That is a great carry though, look at that. A moving dummy half tells you that you're winning that play, the ball.
It was Kane Lynette who made the significant run. Hadley looks towards the touch judge for support there.
He's just got to play that ball, Hadley. Don't look for the penalty off the sideline. Get up, play the ball as quick as you can.
Here's Kyle Trout. That's the 5th tackle. And Litton puts a neat kick in. And Rankin in the corner fields it and then offsets Darrell Alfords. They get the quick play the ball and Truman just goes through. Truman has got some support from Richardson if he can find him, but the Robins managed to cover across and bring him just down just inside their half. Here is Richardson, here is Darrell Alfords.
Good spot again from Truman. Just seeing that the bigger men in the middle of the field just getting a bit lazy, can't quite get back as quick now.
Nearly got caught again there. Here is Millington now. Milner. Straight up the middle, Adam Milner. One club man for the Castleford Tigers. McShane, Richardson, shape to kick, Rankin on, and Alfords couldn't take it. The pass was dipping behind him. And the Castleford Tigers attack, just misfiring again.
Danny Richardson, we've seen him so many times go at the line. If he steps off his right foot, there's a gaping hole towards the sticks. Look at Truman here. Really good, gets rid of Hadley. Beat Garbutt as well. And then good defence from Hull KR to come back. Well, they spot that again, this Castleford side, that your Richardson, your Truman, you've got half-backs who'll take the line on. Well, they've missed a chance then.
That's another opportunity that the Castleford Tigers have spurned, and then they concede the penalty. A bit of frustration, maybe?
Yeah.
Hull KR need to make the most of that. They want their opponents to become even more frustrated. The referee said that markers weren't stirred. There's 2 men stood in front of the play the ball. You judge here. They need to stand directly in front. He's clearly off to the left-hand side. He can't get involved in that tackle. And it's helped Hull KR to get over the halfway line and start a set.
32 minutes gone here at Hull College, Craven Park, and the home side, who went into this game missing, well, they are still missing. They're not going to find him tonight. A whole host of injured players, and with a lot of people thinking that that was going to count against them tonight, but they have stood up well so far. Here's Will Dagger. Sean Kenny-Dowell. Here is Joe Keys, whose kick set up the only try of the game so far for Ben Crooks. 4 tackles gone. In a strong position, useful position here as Hadley shows a little dummy. Millington makes the tackle. On the last now, it's Briley. Briley dinks a little kick in, and it's well dealt with at the back. And Peter Matautia got a whack on the back of the head for his troubles.
He did do well to get down there, Matautia. Hull KR, we've got decent line speed here. Trying to get hold of Matautia, knowing that he's got devastating footwork. Look at him, gets down here, knowing he's got to stay in the field of play, and there's going to be some pressure behind him.
It's James Clare, wrestled to the ground just inside his own 30-metre line. McShane running, McShane still running, looking for support, gets it from Richardson. Richardson looking for the line, trying to find a way to it. He might take the long way round. He won't. Shenton will. And the Castleford Tigers hit back eventually. And it was once more a break through the middle. This time it was McShane who exposed the Robins defence, had support from Richardson. And eventually he managed to find a man out wide. It was Michael Shenton, and the captain crosses for the Tigers' first points of the night.
Well, there's been a couple of warning shots from Cass around centre field. Paul McShane, so influential, isn't he? Gets through far too easy for Hull KR's coach Tony Smith, and Danny Richardson looking for support straight away. Who's there? Goes to the left-hand side. Michael Shenton's there. But if you're beaten around the ruck area, you're beaten around the marker, you've got to make sure that defender each side of the ruck control what Paul McShane's doing. And when Danny Richardson gets this ball, straight away you can see, looking over his left shoulder, where's the captain? Well, there he is.
Michael Shenton chuntering away as he walks back to join his teammates.
I think Hull KR did remarkably well here, though, with the recovery. Once the line's broken, a lot of teams, the teams that you tend to get relegated, don't have enough players to get back and put the attacking team under pressure. They did. I think they've just saved 2 points, and they might stay ahead here, because I don't think they'll kick this from the sideline because of the effort there of those white shirts to get back and force the try, not to be scored under the post, but wide out near that corner flag.
It's Danny Richardson kicking the goals, who has kicked 15 from 22 so far, so there's a fair chance he will kick this. He has.
Shows what those line are, doesn't it? But great signs for Hull KR though. If they continue to compete like that, still, look at the effort here now. Once the line's broken here, I don't know, in the middle they've started to look a little more vulnerable. But there's a massive effort from both wingers. Ryan Briley on this side, Greg Minikin, Sean Kenny down. They'll do whatever they can here to force Shenton to score out wide. I've got to give some praise there. An outstanding sideline conversion.
Yep, from Super League's leading goal kicker, Danny Richardson. So the scores are level as half-time approaches.
Well, the energy from Hull KR, yeah, they are good in scramble, but sort out that middle of the field. You know, you got Cass. You can see Paul McShane just pointing, saying Mitch Garber is going to be slow getting back. Don't take the traffic away from those middlemen.
How many times have they been caught like that in this first half?
3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times, far too easy going through the middle of them. You can take it, Bill, when teams beat you on the edge, but it's a bit of a personal attack when they come through you and challenge you up front.
So there'll be a bit of discussion about that, I would have thought, at half-time, about how to fix that particular problem.
Absolutely.
The Tigers were in a similar position last week, weren't they? And there was a drop goal before half-time to take the lead for the opponents, Wakefield. You might see that happen just before here as Will Dagger now returns that kick.
Wound himself up for the challenge, Dagger, and then he's looked as though he'd run in some buffers because he just came to a standstill. Here's Minikin now. Rover supporters appealing for a penalty as Elliot Minchella goes on the run just over halfway line. It's Garbett now. Here's Kyle Trout. Trout ships it on to Briley. Briley finds Dagger. Dagger evades the first tackle. That's the 5th. Oof. Briley does well there and then kicks over the top. And the ball bounces unkindly for Rankin. Had to scramble to get that under pressure from Kane Lynette. Briley did well to make something out of that.
Yeah, a little pirouette. I think he was looking for the sideline to kick the ball off the field. But next thing on was that chip over the top. He couldn't get there, playing for the penalty from the referee, Chris Kendall, but not having any of it, the ref.
James Clare plays the ball. Here is Peter Matautia, and Matautia has found a hole and has got Rankin in support. Oh, Rankin's gone without it. The line was at his mercy, and Rankin went without it, and now it's Sean Kenny Dowell in open space, and Sean Kenny Dowell has still got some pace, but not enough to get away from Oliver Holmes. But talk about turning defence into attack. It was a little kick ahead. Crooks is chasing it. Crooks is chasing it, and what acrobatics from Danny Richardson to get away. But there's a penalty because I think Crooks was impeded.
Well, they were offside actually. They never got back to play the ball for when Sean Kenny Dowell played out wide. You'd imagine they'd take the lead.
Yeah, he'd take 2 here, wouldn't he?
Brave kick over, wasn't it? Got to admire the vision here, even towards the end of the first half. Heart rate's beating, sensing an opportunity. Look, he points for the kick, he waits on side for Joe Keys to put it over. Perhaps he's impeded, but neither way, they were offside. Ball's cleared.
Bill, I'm going to go back to it again. If they can fix up the middle and not get broke so easily, they have got a really good chance in this game, Hull KR.
Well, they've got the chance to go back in front with half-time approaching. Tony Smith must be really proud of his side's effort in the first 40 minutes up against this much vaunted Castleford, in form Castleford Tigers side.
Well, working so hard for each other, like Phil commented on how good they got back in the scramble, how determined they were. But they've got to make sure that they're like that from tackle one in the set. Make sure that you sort out the middle of the field. And as I say, leave the space on the edge. As long as you sort out the middle, don't let them come through you. I think for Castleford, it's all about speed around the ruck area. If you can try and slow them down, tighten up in the middle, as I say, Hull KR have got a decent chance.
So the penalty, bang in front of the posts. Last few seconds of the first half. And Briley makes the most of the opportunity. Just to nudge Hull Kingston Rovers ahead at half-time. And a really gutsy performance from the Robins, who have not bowed the knee to their opponents. And they have, despite all the various injuries that they have got in key positions, have more than held their own. They lead at half-time. They're looking to end this three-game losing streak and to deny the Castleford Tigers top spot, albeit briefly.
Welcome back to Hull College, Craven Park. Welcome back to round 5 of the Betfred Super League, where the home side have a narrow 2-point lead over the Castleford Tigers at half-time. Well, it's been a half of two halves. Hull Kingston Rovers first to score through Ben Crooks, and then a whole lot of possession and a whole lot of chances for the Castleford Tigers. They returned just 6 points. Will that prove crucial? Let's have a look at the stats after the first 40 minutes. You'll see possession 54% for the home side, 46 for the Castleford Tigers. More meters made by by the Castleford Tigers, less by Hull Kingston Rovers, despite the fact that they had almost double the carries of the visitors. Breaks as well in favour of the away side, 5-1 the stats on that. Let's take you to the dressing rooms here. Tony Smith addressing his side at half-time. Danny Maguire is our guest in studio here. An animated Tony Smith to the left of the screen. I would imagine a very happy Tony Smith, considering his side go in front at half-time.
Yeah, I think he'll be very pleased. You know, a very disciplined performance, and I think after the previous 2 weeks he was just looking for a reaction. I think he definitely got that. I thought we've handled Castleford fairly well. Obviously we're in front, which is really crucial, but he'll be very pleased. He looks a little bit animated there, but he's probably just emphasising the basics, keeping hold of the ball and finishing in good areas.
Plenty of challenging play the Castleford Tigers had to deal with, Barry, in the first 20 minutes or so. They dealt with it, bar that one try they conceded. They'll look back, no doubt, at the disappointment of those missed opportunities in the first half.
Absolutely. If you listen to the points that Danny Maguire's making, you flip them onto the Castleford perspective. They've been over the line, or they've been over the line twice with Mike McMeekin, who looks like a player who's only playing his second game, his first start of the season. Darrell Alfort's dropped a pass. Maybe it was a little bit off target, wasn't quite precise enough, but they've certainly had opportunities on those breakaway tries. Danny said before the game that if Paul McShane plays well, Castleford Tigers play well. He made that break, and you can just see the growing influence of the 1, 6, 7 and 9 for Castleford Tigers.
Yeah, as that half wore on, it looked more and more like the Castleford Tigers would go in at half-time in front. It didn't turn out that way, and to tell us why and take us through the first 40 minutes, we can go to John Wells at the touchscreen. John.
Thanks very much, Brian. Yeah, well, I think the way we're going to do that is by taking a recap of those first half tries. And it started, didn't it, with the pounce from the air from Ben Crooks on 5 minutes. And it was off the back of some really enterprising, expansive rugby, something I'm going to touch upon when we come to the end of these recap moments from the first 40 minutes. Mike McMeekin, no try, knock on 23 minutes. And then again, 5 minutes later, he's held up in his effort to push for the line. Michael Shenton finished off an area of the game that is going to be a concern for Tony Smith, and that is around the ruck. I dare say you will be talking an awful lot more about this, certainly in the Tigers dressing room, because they're saying, oh, look, all the joy we're going to get here is from quick play the balls and efforts around the ruck. All 4 breaks that you mentioned, Brian, on that stats count at half-time came directly from the ruck area. This is another one, another chance for Jordan Rankin. He puts the ball down from a pass from Peter Matautia. And then Ryan Brierley, well, he nudged that over just on the half-time whistle to give them a 2-point lead. I'm going to take you to one of the reasons I think why Hull Kingston Rovers are in front, and it's the pivot role that's been played by Dean Hadley. Just have a look at what he does. There's an awful lot of deception about him. He's playing in that role, that old loose forward, the Sean O'Loughlin style role. Lots of options around him, but because he's getting players on the retreat, because he's asking more questions of that defence, because he's carrying the ball in two hands, that's allowing Hull Kingston Rovers then to make inroads into that Castleford defence. And whether it's through Matty Staunton here in the first example, when we take another look at Dean Hadley, and whether it's Dean himself, they're opening up opportunities for themselves on the edges. Have a look how guys pulled out of the line. That's Liam Watts being pulled out of the line. Now look at retreating players that are coming back here, and have a look at the area of the field that Hull Kingston Rovers are now. They're shifting the ball, they're taking the yardage, they're getting to the Castleford Tigers' edges, and this is something they've done consistently well through the first 40 minutes. Yes, fatigue has got to them a little bit towards the end of the half, but I think this man's been a real danger. Don't forget, he wasn't a starting player. George Lawler out through illness. He's promoted into the starting lineup, but he's done an outstanding job for Hull Kingston Rovers, and they've got a really enthusiastic set of players backed by a really enthusiastic coach. They're going to keep playing. The worry for them is round the ruck, and that's where Darryl Powell will be focusing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thanks very much, John. Did loosen up a little there, and for Hull Kingston Rovers fans, I don't know for you sitting in the studio here, did get a little worrying.
Yeah, too many easy meters down that middle, and we spoke about Paul McShane, didn't we? He's a genius. He's one of the probably the most clever players that I've played alongside. He understands the game. He's got really good vision, and he'll spot opportunities there. So it's really crucial that we're nice and tight. We win the previous play of the ball. We keep nice and tight around the ruck, because I don't think Castleford have threatened us on the edge.
Castleford Tigers, though, may sit in that dressing room saying, if we produce half as many efforts in the chances in the second half as we did in the first half, we'll come away with a win here.
You felt, didn't you, in that first 20 minutes when Rovers had the lion's share of possession. And I'd like to see Jez Litton. I think Elliot Minchella's on for Jez Litton at the minute, and I'd like to see Joey Keys take the line on a little bit more. A couple of times Danny and I said straightening up might just commit defenders, but from Castleford's perspective, they've withstood all that. They've gone into the half-time changing rooms just 2 points behind on the scoreboard. So there's no doubt that Paolo will be reinforcing the game plan that he set out with at the beginning of the match.
Assuming that you were confident before the game kicked off, and I think there was a degree of confidence within you without getting carried away, are you more or less confident after that first 40 minutes?
Yeah, I'm really optimistic. I think the first half was really solid. We really nice high completion rate. Again, that needs to be kept up this second half. We can't afford to drop any balls from a Rovers perspective. We need to keep turning the ball over in good areas. And Castleford are a great side when you give them ball in good territory. If you turn them over in their own end, probably not as good.
Barry McDermott, pre-game, you went for Castleford Tigers win. Sticking with that?
I think so, yeah. You've seen the strike, and we know the strike that the Tigers have got. Credit where it's due, though. Hull KR have put up a real fight so far, but let's hope we get much more of the same. I think Cass will be a bit too strong in the end.
Yeah, nice and entertaining first half to open up round 5 of the Betfred Super League. We've got the second 40 minutes on the way with Bill and the boys. Plenty of opportunities for the Castleford Tigers in that first 40 minutes. Just a solitary try, just one for Hull Kingston Rovers as well, with far less chances. What will the second half hold for Tony Smith and his men and Darryl Powell's boys? Find out after this.
Second half coming up here at Hull College, Craven Park as it is now, and the hosts Hull Kingston Rovers lead the Castleford Tigers by 8 points to 6, courtesy of that Ryan Brierley penalty goal just before the half-time hooter, just giving the Robins the edge as we prepare to get the second half underway. Can Hull Kingston Rovers sustain this mighty effort, or will the Tigers prevail? They have been playing some classy stuff this season. They are the league's leading try scorers with 16 from their opening 4 rounds, the Castleford Tigers, and have now reached, in fact, 100 points in 2020 with the points they've accumulated here tonight. Can they go on and get a few more and see off the challenge of the Robins?
Well, they'll be hoping they started the second half like they did last week. They had 15 of the next 17 sets of possession through a factor of penalties, goal line dropouts, some tries they scored, and scored 16 unanswered points, which is what they look like they might be doing right now.
They look very classy indeed at the moment as James Clare cuts back in field after a sweeping move that has taken them up to the Hull Kingston Rovers 10-metre line. and the Tigers starting the second half with intent. And Truman dinks a little grubber kick in. It's Millington who was chasing it. He was pushed off the ball. Now then, the referee has stopped the clock.
No try. Could you please check the merits of a penalty try, please?
He's looking at a penalty try.
We had a similar situation last week, didn't we, when James Baxter was involved at Wakefield for an obstruction. There's no real signal yet, is there, for a penalty try from the referee on the pitch? So everybody in the crowd seen a sign of no try, but he's checking for a penalty try. We need to be able to communicate that somehow if we're going to continue with this system, I think. We also need the referee's opinion, really, on whether or not it was a try, really. You know, in his opinion.
Ryan Briley steps across him. I don't think that, because the ball's going away from it, will he manage to get round and 100% get the ball?
You've got Will Dagger and Ben Crooks as well in the frame here. One from the right, one from the left here. That would make it hard. I doubt that the video referee would overrule this and give it as a penalty try. He can, of course, give a penalty for obstruction.
That's all it'll be. It'll be a penalty.
A sin bin as well, as we saw last week with James Baxter, which was a turning point for many in the game, really. James Baxter.
It is no try, but there goes the signal from Chris Kendall. There's the yellow card, and Ryan Briley pays the price for his intervention there.
Well, that's a poor way to start the second half, isn't it? Yeah, Ryan Briley, as he leaves the field, he knows that the side have got to do it really tough now in the opening 10 minutes, because you knew that there was going to be a reaction straight after half-time. They shifted the ball. They like to offload the ball. They are an attacking side. They had to get through that set of six, get their hands on the ball and get it away from the try line. They didn't do that, and they give an easy penalty away.
Which Richardson duly drills between the posts. 8 points apiece. Richardson has got the first points of the second half.
Well, this game was tough for Hull KR at the start, with some of the players they've got missing and the form they've been in. It becomes even more of a challenge here now, though, with 12 men. Whenever you need a real fighting spirit in rugby league, it's when you're down a player. We're Hull KR right now against a pretty fired-up Castleford side.
So that's a real bonus at the start of the second half for the Castleford Tigers.
Okay, I thought that was a mistake then from Castle. They were hoping it was going to be a mistake. And just tipping the ball on, making some decent yards going forward. Ollie Holmes lands on his front.
And they really will be looking to run the Robins ragged now, and McShane running rings round them, in fact. Has started the season in great nick as Paul McShane, and continuing tonight by the look of things. Truman slipping, that's the 5th tackle. 40-metre line. Richardson is harassed. That's great work, but it's still with Rankin now, still on the last. It's Rankin who's going to get the kick away, and kicks for Crooks, and he will counter.
Well, Crooks gets hold of the ball there, but they've got to make sure that they do the right thing. And this Castleford side, why would they go away from attacking round the middle with the likes of Truman and Richardson pointing the big men around the ruck? Paul McShane again identifying a weakness around the play the ball earlier.
So the 12 men of Hull Kingston Rovers will be looking to eat up the clock while Ryan Briley is off the field. Here is Garbutt now, just on the halfway line.
Yeah, but last player look for the sideline with the kick.
And it's Keys who puts the kick in, and Rankin, tight to the sideline, gathers it. And here's James Clare. Quick opportunity to go down to the sidelines, get the half-time news from Jenna Brooks.
Thanks very much, Bill. Tony Smith happy with that spirited half. He said that it was a very disciplined performance. They lost a little bit of momentum in that last 8 minutes, but he still feels like they have a lot to give in this half. Of course, it's going to be challenging being a man down for the next 10 minutes. Darryl Powell spoke of the missed opportunities that the Castleford Tigers had in that first half. Main message was ball control has to be better, and they need to execute better. Liam Watts came off early in that first half with a finger injury. He is unlikely to return.
Shenton, thanks Jenna. Shenton just over the halfway line. Hands up from Millington. Richardson very quickly onto McMeekin. McMeekin quickly onto Darrell Alfords. Alfords trying to go outside Dagger. Then get the pass away. Can't do that. Good work from the Robins fullback. Now it's Rankin. Rankin will kick cross field. Sean Kenny Dowell is underneath it. The ball is batted down and it's picked up by James Clare, and Clare has gone in at the corner. Has he got the try? Video ref Robert Hicks is having a busy night tonight.
I have no try. Mate, hang on, could you check for a knock-on from Castleford? If there is no try, Rob, I'm going for a penalty to Castleford for offside on the 10.
Chris Kendall looking for a knock-on somewhere back across the field.
Well, no, I think he may consider a penalty to Castleford for an offside.
Eventually.
Yes, if it isn't a try. But obviously we're going to think, the referee thinks that there's a knock-on at the end of this kick when it comes down here from Jordan Rankin. He thinks that everyone's onside behind the kicker from that angle. And as Michael Shenton jumps in the air to contest that with Sean Kenny Dowell, and my gut reaction was that it had come from Sean Kenny Dowell.
Yeah, well, Sean Kenny Dowell, he's going up, but Michael Shenton, it looks like it's touched Michael Shenton that and gone forward, doesn't it?
So that's going to be a knock-on, in which case we'll go back to a penalty.
Yeah.
Even more pressure now then for Hull KR.
Oh, they're going to do it tough here now,
Will
Phil.
Castleford kick at goal, or will they attempt to score with their opponents down a man?
You'd keep going here, wouldn't you?
No try, as anticipated. And then Chris Kendall comes back to just inside the 10 and gives the Castleford Tigers the penalty.
Well, why you got the numerical advantage? Like Sir Paul McShane here, directing his troops. He's with Rankin now, he's with Richardson, he's saying what he wants. Look at him setting up the players here.
Quick discussion, Truman taps, and here's Millington. Could have gotten the scoreboard himself at the start of the second half. So the Hull Kingston Rovers defence really under pressure now. Can the Tigers capitalise? Daniel Smith. Smith, that close he is to the Robins line. Short pass and Millington is wrapped up. It's good defence thus far from Hull Kingston Rovers. Milner onto Richardson. Richardson to Metaltier, and Metaltier bursting through. He's over, but can he get it down? I don't think he can. He's held up, says the referee.
Great defence on Metaltier. Minchella first of all, then Matty G comes over the top. He's trying to spin out of that tackle and ground the ball, but good effort from Hull KR.
And the Robins supporters lifting their side as they try and defend against the Castleford Tigers once again. McShane gets the pass away. Truman's little kick, and it's Minikin who sweeps across.
He's been really good at that, hasn't he, Greg Minikin? Sweeping up round the back, cleaning up an awful lot of those kicks.
Well, every winning team needs try scorers and try savers, and Hull KR have just shown at their end of the field here they can prevent their opponents from scoring with a running play, and then through that kick, Greg Minikin almost be able to anticipate where Castleford would kick on that last play. Oliver Holmes scored from a similar one last week at about this point in the game, but tonight Rovers just about hang on.
They are hanging on at the moment. Here's Mitch Garbutt now. A delayed start to the season. Missed rounds 2 and 3, in fact. And Keys gets the kick away. It's Rankin.
It's a good kick as well from Keys. He spotted that right in front of him, defending on the sideline, was Jordan Rankin. There was some space between him and Alford, so he kicked centre field.
And looked forward. Certainly looked forward to the massed ranks of the Robins supporters on that side of the ground. But here's Milner. Matty Staunton in with the tackle. Truman.
Just lost away then, Castleford, the last couple of plays.
Went up a cul-de-sac, Jake Truman, and ran into Dean Handley. Here's Millington. Smith was on his shoulder. Millington bounces off the first challenge. They let him slip, did the Robins defenders.
Can't get him on his back though, can they?
Hadley getting through a mountain of work for Hull Kingston Rovers. On the last now, they're keeping it alive. They've got the numbers, but Richardson doesn't need the numbers. gets the try himself. His first for his new club. And they made it count there, the numerical advantage. There were players outside, but Danny Richardson didn't need them. And he stepped inside. And the Castleford Tigers go in front, 12 points to 8.
Just feel he's got a point to prove this year. Richardson, he is a running threat, always has been a running threat ever since he burst onto the scene in 2017. Didn't go his way last year, didn't play many games, just 12 games out of 35. But this is what he can do. He terrorises defenders, he terrorises those big men in the middle of the field. And Dan Richardson, nice little tip on Adam Milner, knowing that he can offload that ball. He's got some support from his half-back partner. Big start in the second half there for Cass.
And Hull Kingston Rovers paying the price for that sin binning. Richardson celebrates. Richardson has got all the points in the second half so far. He's kicked a penalty, he's scored a try, and he's just about to convert his own try here to push the Tigers further ahead on a bitingly cold night in East Hull.
Well, the Rovers fans here were a little disappointed. They thought there was an obstruction here on Kane Lynette. You'll watch here now as the ball comes through. At that point there, Mike McMeekin, there's a potential he does fall over rather easily, but he does put the arms to the earth, thinking that it was impeded from getting to Richardson in the initial movement. Referees ignored it, and the 6 behind with 10 minutes in the second half gone.
Do you think that there was an obstruction there?
There's a frame in which he is obstructed, yes. And whether it was enough to be penalised, I'm not sure. And you can't freeze frame the whole game, can you? But
the only thing is he can't get out the way. He was stood there, wasn't he? I don't think he stepped into him. Didn't step either side. Has he knocked the ball on air all over? Well, just exactly what Hull KR need here. Look at him now, coming all in, celebrating that defensive effort. High fives all around. And now, what Castleford need to do is back up that mistake. They've scored points, they're in front on the scoreboard, they've lost possession, they need a big defensive set here.
Immediately an opportunity for Hull Kingston Rovers to respond to that Richardson try. Holmes not impressed with the decision, but head and feet goes to the Robins. And they're 25 metres or so out. Here is Daniel Murray now. Once of the Salford Red Devils, Murray. Joe Keys, Sean Kenny Dowell, strong running. Oh, great ball, and he couldn't take it. Matty G couldn't take it under the post as well. What work it was. It was Minchella, I think. Minchella it was.
Good drop off, Sean Kenny Dowell. Look at him. He's got that offload away. Minchella can't get hold of it. But brilliant play from Hull KR. Ryan Briley's back onto the field now, so Hull KR up to the full complement. They've got 90 metres between their try line and where they are currently. They've got to keep this Castleford side here.
Glory was beckoning there for the former Leeds man, Elliot Minchella, Leeds and Bradford. But he couldn't take that pass, and that's what Sean Kenny Dowell can still bring to a side. The former Kiwi international, 21 Kiwi caps, Sean Kenny Dowell. Big signing for the Robins. And the Castleford Tigers survive. Here is Adam Milner. Castleford leading 14 points to 8. 40-metre line, that's the 5th tackle inside Hull Kingston Rovers territory. Richardson gets some height on that kick. Hanging in the air, that ball. It's knocked down. It's 6 to go, says the referee, Chris Kendall. And the pressure will come on this Robins defence now, with Matautia taking him on single-handed.
Well, they couldn't deal with it, Ben Crooks, then. He was under some pressure himself. Cass had the ball.
Here is Daniel Smith getting through some extra work with Liam Watts out of the reckoning for the rest of this game because of that hand injury. McShane gets the pass away. Here is Rankin wrapped up. Sean Kenny Dowell it was with the tackle, the captain leading by example. McShane's pass, Truman Here is Daniel Smith once more, straight back into the heart of the Hull Kingston Rovers territory. Shane's pass away. Richardson. Out it goes to Matautia. Matautia just pauses, sees what's ahead, but it's good work defensively. Nutty G in there. Richardson. Millington gets away from Trout, gets the pass away to Milner. Milner bounces off the first. Ball over the top. Clare for the corner. Clare for the corner! And this one will count. Oh, will it? Video ref again. What's the referee's feeling on this one? That James Clare has got the ball down acrobatically in the corner.
He won't get this wrong, James Clare. We've seen him score some spectacular tries over his career. He's got some space. It's not as though he's under pressure. Look at him. He's up. He's airbound. The ball's down. Not a problem.
Quick look from Robert Hicks and James Clare, who got 2 tries against Wakefield last week, including his 50th for the club. Extends their advantage with that try. Great finish.
Well, they've got 12 points in just over 14 minutes there, the second half. They certainly know how to start after that break. The kick goes up and it's a knock-on. They get 6 more players on the far side of the field. But by the end, they score in the left-hand corner. The ball waves away there. Comes again over to this side. We really are now just so much time and field position. Hull are doing well, but bouncing off 1 or 2 tackles. The long ball over. It's a brave but educated finish here. And he waits well onside here to time his run for this. Patiently anticipating the ball in space and finishing with that right-handed put down.
They've got some finishing power. Danny Richardson's got some goal-kicking power as well, and Super League's leading goal kicker adds another one to his tally.
Grant Millington does a decent job, doesn't he? He has got the ability to ride tackles. Not only does he ride tackles, he's got an offload in him. And as soon as he gets rid of those Hull KR defenders, Adam Milner's with him. There's a lot of push, there's a lot of attacking shape, and they score what looked like an easy try, but there's a lot of hard work that's gone into that set of 6 for Castleford.
So the Castleford Tigers beginning to take a grip on this game. They lead by 20 points to 8. They have dominated the second half here. All the points going to the Tigers. And Danny Richardson has got the lion's share of them. Can Hull Kingston Rovers respond now? That big effort in the first half, is that maybe going to tell?
And they can't pat themselves on the back for what they did in the first 40 minutes. They've been a man down for 10 minutes. That would have took some energy out of them. When they shoot in, they've got to close the players down. It looks too easy.
It's easy for Clare. It's easy for James Clare, but he runs in to an almighty challenge.
It's a shoulder charge. That's a penalty, that.
It's dagger.
Yeah.
Clare is back on his feet.
Well, he takes exception. He takes exception to this. He goes in. He's got to try and engage. He's got to try and wrap his arms around James Clare. He can't hit now in the modern game with just his shoulder. Can't jump from the ground and hit somebody.
James Clare very quickly back on his feet, and
didn't get the card out again.
I suspect he might be. He's called Will Dagger across. Not the way he was hoping to celebrate his 21st birthday. He's just turned 21. He just gets ticking off from the referee, and the penalty goes to the Castleford Tigers. So more pressure will come on this Robins defence. They are back on their own try line. And the Castleford Tigers have really upped the ante in the second half, responding to their coach's demands and looking for more points now. It's good defence though, as Trout and co drive Adam Milner back and then concede another penalty. Little second effort from Trout there.
Well, do they keep going here, or do they go for 2 points, which will take it out then to 3 scores that Hull KR need? And then the kicking tee is out now. The pressure's going to be put on to Hull KR. Can they deal with that pressure and then giving too many penalties away. Yeah, they've got to slow the ruck down. They can't let Adam Milner play that ball quickly, but you can't interfere with him when he's getting up as well in front of the referee. Kyle Trouter's been bounced off a couple of tackles, probably got a bit of frustration in his game, knowing that he needs to be better in the contact areas when he's defending, the likes of Grant Millington.
Richardson bang in front of the posts again to continue his point domination in the second half. And into the back of the stand, 22-8. Tony Smith looking thoughtful up in the stand, poaching alongside him.
Sorry, Billy, he knows it's an important time and period in this game now. If they concede another try in the next 5 minutes, that's it. It's game done for them.
But they haven't had any possession to work with, have they, or any territory?
They've been under pressure from the first set of 6 in the second half. Then they give a penalty away. They just put themselves well and truly behind the 8 ball. As soon as they lost Ryan Brierley for 10 minutes, they haven't really recovered from that.
Oh, McMeekin has found a hole, another hole in the Robins defence, and has made big yards. 40-metre line in Hull Kingston Rovers territory. McMeekin and Castleford have come from deep in their own half to well inside Hull Kingston Rovers territory now. It's 3 tackles gone. Truman, here is Daniel Smith up to the 20-metre line. Bang in front of the post now. McShane goes to the left. Truman gets the pass away, but the ball goes to ground. Daniel Smith, I think it was.
Well, going at the line, coming back on the angle, trying to get hold of that ball then.
It was Chase Blair who was the guilty man. Just on the field, Chase Blair.
Nice and fresh. That's not what Hull KR need. What they do need now, Bill, is every time that they go into contact, they've got to get those quick play the balls. They need somebody to just lay that platform. But look at this, when they go in, they've got 3 players. They're trying to take them to ground, trying to control them. See the extra fight here from Smith on Minikin.
And now Hull Kingston Rovers trying to turn the table with a break up the middle. But Lytton runs into some strong defence. But at least Hull Kingston Rovers have got some possession to work with now. That's the 5th tackle. Kick coming, and Dagger gives that one some air. Hangs in the chilly night sky, comes back towards the Robins players. It's still with them, and the referee says they were offside, and it'll be a Castleford penalty. And then
Penalised Matty G, saying that he was offside and within the 10. You see, he was the one who just pulled out with that ball then. Over on the left-hand side, the number 25, Hull KR. The Hull KR fans now trying everything to get the referee onside.
Well, they need to, because the second half penalty count is 5-0 in favour of Castleford Tigers.
Well, this is where really good sides, and if Castleford are one, we might see it here. They just kill off their opponents. They don't want any stress. They don't want to be taxed too much in the final quarter of this game. By putting a few more points on the board here now, they can certainly kill off their hopes, which is Chase Blair's attempt here right now.
Chase Blair almost slipped the clutches of Lytton there. The hooker working hard, but they're going to have to work hard here, because once more the Castleford Tigers are threatening. McMeekin plays the ball, McShane directing operations. Milner gets the pass away, and Smith it was. Held just short of the try line, Daniel Smith. That's the 5th. McShane's little kick. The ball is bouncing, and they're claiming the try. And the referee says no, there's an offside. I think Milner was on the end of it.
Well, that decision probably just keeps them in the game.
It's an interesting one here, isn't it? We'll see how he's offside from that kick. He'll tap the ball, we'll go on with it. We might get to see that later with a replay.
Ironic cheers from the Rovers supporters as they get their first penalty of the second half.
Well, they've been begging for a penalty, haven't they?
Here's Kane Lynette now. And the Rovers supporters still infuriated by the referee's seeming lack of generosity. But at least they've steadied the ship a bit.
Good read. If you're going to come in, that's how you close a player down. Timing's absolutely everything on the edge.
Shenton it was, very experienced, over 300 appearances for the Castleford Tigers, Michael Shenton. Little offload from Kyle Trout finds Daniel Murray. Murray puff of the cheeks, that's the 5th tackle, 40 metres out. Little kick is hoisted by Joe Keys. Oh, Crooks was trying to do something acrobatic, but it sails out of play.
Well, Castleford again, they find themselves just 10 metres.
I thought that looked like ball out on the full, didn't it, from the kick? Sure, the referees judged that to have happened there, really, but the wind here, it's probably the coldest rugby league ground we've got in Super League, and there's an icy wind blowing, swirling around, so that kick drifted out off course.
Don't mention, I'm feeling cold enough as it is without you. Head and feed deep in Castleford Tigers half. And here is Shenton. Injury news coming in from Jenna Brooks on the sidelines.
Thanks, Bill. Dean Hadley is currently sitting on the bench. He doesn't look so well. I've spoken to the physio and he is feeling sick. They're going to monitor him at the moment. They're unsure if he'll come back on. Mitch Garbutt as well has gone into the dressing room. Another player feeling unwell.
Dean Hadley has been a big influence on the Robins effort tonight.
He will be a massive loss if he can't get back onto the field. That will not help the cause, will it?
Richardson, another big kick, doesn't get quite the distance on that. Now it does with the bounce into the hands of Will Dagger. And there's a penalty, offside against the Castleford Tigers.
Listen to those Hull KR fans. That's what they've been wanting. Again, it's a quick tap here, Greg Minikin. That's an easy 20 metres from the winger.
Up to the halfway line, the former Castleford winger, centre, Minikin, once of York. Now Owen Harrison got a late call when George Lawler dropped out, making his first appearance of the season, Harrison. And then is there some defiance left in this Hull Kingston Rovers side in the final quarter of this game? They trail by 22 points to 8. Not home and dry yet, the Castleford Tigers. Get a Hull KR side with the crowd behind them, scenting a bit of an upset. You never know. Harrison plays the ball. Here's Brierley. Brierley drops it off and Dagger bursts through. Clings onto the ball under pressure from Rankin. That's the 5th tackle. Needs to be a good kick on this side of the field. Sean Kenny Dowell has hands raised. They're running it though. The ball is batted down, and it's going to be another set of 6, is it, for the Robins? It was batted down, says the referee. Yes, it is.
Well, how quickly can Hull KR form this scrum? How much energy have they got left to show? It's just about trying to get to the scrum. They do seem drained from their experience of defending with 12 men and playing against a team who've been stronger than them in the middle of the field. It's an opportunity for somebody like Ryan Brierley here, though. His pace and the footwork close to the line. You'd be nervous if you were one-on-one against him.
So what an opportunity this is. Jez Litton gets the pass away to Sean Kenny Dowell. Sean Kenny Dowell has flicked the ball inside, looking for Minikin. If he'd held on there, surely he was over the line.
Well, I think there's a bit of panic. He thinks he's going over the sideline.
It's knocked out anyway, isn't it? It's knocked out of his hands, but the referee said it's a loose carry, lost possession.
I think the unstructured players there for Hull KR, that's what will get them back into the game. Possibly a win. And that's when they're troubling them.
Leeds against Warrington coming up tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena for that. It should be a big game as well. Toronto against St Helens likewise. Can Toronto continue their form, finding their form, finding their feet really? That's Saturday evening at 6 o'clock for that one. Here come the Castleford Tigers with McShane to Millington. Millington rumbling forward, then looking out wide for Alford. Salfords, though, took that one standing still, has to come back infield, looking for a gap in the middle of the Robins defence. They've lost a bit of momentum. It's with Truman now. 4 tackles gone. Nathan Massey. 5th tackle, 12 metres or so away from the Hull Kingston Rovers line. Plenty of numbers on this side. Truman's little kick, and they have to concede another goal line dropout to the Robins. Minikin it was to the rescue.
And it's another little kick, isn't it? Just turns the pressure. Jake Truman at the line, pulling up those defenders, but the man who saved a number of players in this game, Greg Minikin, comes to a rescue again.
You've got to imagine here they're going to attempt to kick this short, 10-15 metres, and hope for contesting and get the ball back. Will Dagger's attempt here, it's to the left-hand side. Has it gone the 10 metres?
Hasn't yet.
It's the hardest thing you've got to get right first and foremost. Hasn't made it. It's a penalty 10 metres out in front of the post. And that's the risk and reward element there of a short restart. If you don't pull it off, you don't kick the ball far enough, you can see they'll have the 2 points, or you have to defend for 6 more plays.
And he is kicking it into this this wind that's picked up. It blows virtually down the pitch.
Did the same last week though on a similar goal line drop out at that end of the field. They didn't quite get it enough, but fighting spirit here now to defend the line.
So an opportunity for McShane. Griffin it is who's held just short. Richardson, change of direction. Rankin shrugs off the challenge of Sean Kenny-Dowell and takes on Lytton. Owen Harrison doing the tackling as well. 10 metres out. Castleford Tigers looking to put this game to bed. McMeekin, who's been denied twice tonight in the first half, he's tackled just short. McShane again. Richardson shows it to Massey, then gets the pass away to Truman. Truman onto Rankin. Oh, Shenton couldn't take, and it's picked up by Sean Kenny-Dowell.
Well, look too easy then for Michael Shenton. Hull KR just can't quite put the pressure on the inside for the playmakers. The offloading game again from Hull KR.
Here is Crooks now.
Normally so safe, isn't he, Michael Shenton?
So just inside their own half, Hull Kingston Rovers. 22-8 they trail. 11 minutes of the game to go. The Castleford Tigers looking to see this one out. They could have made life an awful lot easier for themselves if they'd taken opportunities that came their way in the first 40 minutes when they broke the Robins defence repeatedly through the middle, but didn't finish off. As it is, defiant response from Tony Smith's side. Here's Matty G now. Jez Lytton. Brierley then kicks across the grain, but nobody on the same wavelength, although they nearly made a mess of it at the back to the Castleford Tigers.
Well, Joe Keys was the man who called for it to centre field. He wanted the kick towards the sticks. He got it. Only there working with the referee. He was called offside, so he didn't go into that tackle.
Should the referee be coaching the team? If you're offside, should the referee shout you? Is that his job? His job is to apply the rules, not to tell which players who are in and are out of position.
I'd rather see a flowing game, Phil, than players been penalised and stoppages constantly.
As Darrell Alfords, the Robins playing their 3rd home game in the opening 5 rounds, the sort of start that clubs like to have. That's a good kick. And it's still going to be head and feed in this case to the Castleford Tigers after that deep kick from Paul McShane. He gets the plaudits of his teammates, looking for a 40-20. It was Minikin in the end who carried it over the touchline.
No-win situation for the Robins right winger here. Brilliant placement by McShane. He can see both of his feet are behind the line. It's going to be a 40-20 if he finds the sideline, and he slides the momentum of the ball on his body. He carries the ball out of play, and now with a scrum situation, the Tigers look dangerous.
Yeah, this is the opportunity to really finish this game off and see off the Hull Kingston Rovers challenge once and for all in this contest. And it's with Jordan Rankin. Matautia signalling where he wants Darrell Alfords to go. Here is Alfords. Gets away from the first challenge. Daniel Murray hounding him. Good work to stop George Griffin. That's the 10-metre line. They're that close McShane running. McShane gets the pass away. And again, good defence to hold up Oliver Holmes. I think it is at the bottom of that.
Yeah, well, Will Dagger, just nice and safe, getting underneath the back rower. Scored that try last week.
So they go back to the 10-metre line and tap that ball. A stray pass from McShane, the first one tonight really from him. Here's Chase Blair, who's had a good start to the season, has the Kiwi, Chase Blair. Here's Massey trying to go for the one that decides this game, but he's held up.
Well, he picks out Jez Litton, one of the smaller defenders in a Hull KR jersey. He hits, he spins, he tries to riddle out. No way can he do that, though.
Little kick, and who's he going to come up for? It's come up for the Castleford Tigers, 6 to go. And here is Massey once more.
He has another crack at Litton again.
I think I've just accused Chase Blair of being a Kiwi. This time Holmes is charging over the line. But I tell you what, this Robins defence, the game is gone, surely, but they're defiant to the last. It's gone now because McMeekin has finally got the try he's been looking for all night. Denied twice in the first half. All smiles, Mike McMeekin. All smiles, the Castleford Tigers supporters, because they've made sure of victory here at Craven Park with Mike McMeekin's try, his first of the season.
Well, they get another set of 6 here. Daniel Murray, he makes the mistake, and the big powerhouse over on the right-hand side, the England international, Mike McMeekin. Just look at that, nice play from the half-back. You go at the line, you pull in defenders with Paul McShane and Jake Truman. That's a good combination, that, along with Richardson. 3 attacking players that like to create space, 4 people outside him, and it was just a strolling for McMeekin. Denied in the first half, but not in the second.
I think Mike McMeekin's career has plateaued over the last 12 months, and I'm hoping here now, with a good season ahead of him here now, we can see him back to his best. He's back in the side, he's scoring fun and enjoying his rugby, and it looks as though the Tigers are going to win this by about 20 points, which probably doesn't tell you a true reflection of this game. When the Rovers were 14-8 down, and Sean Kinney-Dowell offloaded to Minicello, we were so close to a 14-all game as it is now, with Danny Richardson kicking in this form. It looks like there's a world apart between these two teams.
28-8 the scoreline now.
Well, the shorter numbers here, they've defended the line remarkably well, but they just get on the outside of Kane Lynette, and he slides in there to put it all smiles for the Castleford side. Just over 5 minutes to go.
Mike McMeekin making his first start of the season. He missed the opening 2 rounds, so just hitting form now. And coming up with another try in the second half for the Castleford Tigers, who've dominated in the second half. There's a penalty for the Tigers. All the points scored in the second half by the Castleford Tigers, 22 of them, and nothing to show for the Robins. Could have been.
Well, they're a good side, and they've got to ride tough periods, haven't they? You can see that there's just interference. You've got to make sure that you clear that ruck. They didn't do that. Impeded Oliver Holmes. Again, just doing that extra bit of work to slow Oliver Holmes down again. Joe Keys it was on that occasion.
So Hull Kingston Rovers, a bit of a worry. 1 from 5 it'll be at the start of the season, and that includes 3 home games.
And that's what you've got to make sure that you get. You've got to make sure that your home form, whether your away form's poor, your home form, if you're at the bottom of the table, it's got to be good.
And another away win for the Castleford Tigers, who won only 5 of 14 away matches in 2019. And they are Super League's leading try scorers, and are top of the table tonight, albeit briefly, because the sides, well, they were above them, play on Sunday. Wigan and Huddersfield, John Smith Stadium Sunday. That'll be a big game. Huddersfield, of course, off to a great start to this new season. Richardson's kick is fielded by Will Dagger, and Dagger counters.
Well, not only are they top of the table and the top try scorers. It looks as though for the second consecutive week they're going to keep their opponents scoreless and pointless in the second half. And that sort of strength and fitness and confidence that you get in the second period when you can prevent your opponents from getting over the line is something I think that will delight them and certainly inspire them here now to believe that they are a stronger side than they were in 2019 and they can compete better over that 80-minute period.
Landmark win this as well for the coach Daryl Powell. It's his 300th win as a club coach. There he is, and it puts him on a par with coaches like Trent Robinson and Craig Bellamy. Trent Robinson's got a 64% win rate. Daryl Powell, his win percentage 64%. Craig Bellamy 69%. Thank you, Ian Potter.
He's a quality coach, isn't he? Everyone that's been coached by Daryl Powell will talk about how good he is. He left Leeds in 2003, went away, learned the trade again, then come back, and look how good he's transformed this side, like I said before.
He's the best coach in this country, isn't he?
His side dominating the second half here and looking for more points. Richardson, Rankin over the top but out of play. Darrell Alfords looks inside and says, wow, yes, not sure I could have got to that.
Jordan Rankin was expecting the winger to be just in front of the centre for that face ball cut out. You could see Matautu was just holding back and he just needed to push up a bit more. That's what he was after.
So he hasn't got a lot to complain about then.
Well, obviously Darrell Alfords was saying, yeah, it was a poor pass, mate, I wasn't reading your play. I thought it was going to go through the hands. Matautu then to me.
Alfords new to the side, these things maybe taking a bit of time to click. There's some competition for the wing places though at the Castleford Tigers, isn't there? Because when Greg Eaton can't get into the side and Sasia Feki hasn't even featured yet.
Well, that's what
keeps
keeps everybody on the toes, and that if it's competition for places, that's when teams prosper.
Here we've got a penalty for an offside against the Castleford Tigers. Coming up to the last minute of the game and hasn't found touch. And back goes one of tonight's try scorers, James Clare, to gather the ball. Here is Jordan Rankin now. Meanwhile, for Hull Kingston Rovers, the problems continue. Tony Smith will be hoping that he can get some of his injured players back, but he's not going to ensure. I mean, Matt Parcell's out for some considerable time. Quinlan out, Jordan Abdul, Jamie Ellis, Wella Haraki. Gosh, there's some, crucial players there.
A lot of your salary cap sat on the sidelines. Players that you want to build your team around, like they are the brains trust. They get you around the field.
Harvey Levette not able to play tonight. Here goes McShane. McShane running. They're queuing up for this one. McShane's pass and Richardson implores him to give it earlier. He couldn't. And the chance goes begging.
Well, there's a number of times that they broke up the middle of the field. I'd say probably 6 or 7 times. Richardson is on the end of it. He's calling for it, screaming for it, timing his run, and you can see the frustration there. But it's job done from Paul McShane and his side in this second half. Scratchy in the first half. Yeah, they did break. Daryl Powell knows that they broke them a number of times, but he'd be more happy with what his side have shown in the second half.
Yeah, from 8-6 down at half-time, the Castleford Tigers have dominated the second 40 minutes, and tries from Richardson, Clare and McMeekin. 5 Richardson goals as well have taken the game away from Hull Kingston Rovers, who were really in the contest at half-time but weren't able to stay the pace. And Wilmar tastes defeat against his former colleagues. It's been a gutsy performance from the Robins, but their personnel problems really caught them tonight, and the Castleford Tigers not firing on all cylinders, maybe. Still too good.
They were made to work hard for what they come out with at the end of the day. The first 40 minutes, Hull KR were well and truly in it. Concentration, I'd say that's got to be a key element for Hull KR. Paul McShane knows that the strength they've got around that ruck area, around the play of the ball, exposed Hull KR in the first half, in the second half. Not as much maybe, but the way that they took the game to them in the second half shows what a real classic side Darryl Powell's built. The margin that was there in the first half, nothing between them, but second half belongs to Castleford.
And I think the Man of the Match award belongs to Danny Richardson. By my rudimentary maths, which are not the greatest, he's got 16 points from the 28 for the Castleford Tigers. Man of the Match he is, he's with Jenna.
Thanks, Bill. Danny Richardson, congratulations. You are the Betfred Man of the Match. As Bill just said, 16 points tonight you scored from your team's 28, including a try, your first for Cass. It came out of nothing. What did you see that we didn't?
Yeah, obviously, you know, first and foremost, good to come here, you know, in tough conditions. And, you know, we dug in deep, especially that first half. You know, we knew it was going to be tough. And, yeah, obviously, happy to get off the you know, off the mark and score my first try for Cass. It was a bit of an unexpected one, like you said, but you know we've been working on a bit of reactionary play, and you know luckily it just fell into my hands, and all I had to do was crash over. So.
You spoke about the first half there. It did seem that Cass again for the second week in a row were a little bit flat. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I think you could say that. You know, that's the second week in a row we've you know we've gone behind, and you know it's something we need to work on and fix up. But you know, like early on in the year, I think it's just important that you know you get the wins together, and you know that's what we've done. You know, we're 4 from 5 now, and you know we come back in the second half strong, and you know, like we say, we've got things to work on, and you know we'll do that. So.
What are some of those things that you think you'll be working on?
I just think we were a bit loose, you know, across the board in D, especially, you know, that first half, like you say, and you know they marched us up the field, and you know credit to them, they played really well, and yeah, I think just going forward, that's something we need to work on.
Danny Richardson, congratulations on a Man of the Match performance.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
We'll bring your captain in now, Michael Shenton. Michael, congratulations on the win. That is now 4 from 5. Feel good?
Yeah, it's a good start. That it was always going to be a tricky start for us logistically with short turnarounds and stuff. So no, really pleased with that. Coming to Hull KR is always tough. I know these men are doing it tough at the minute with the injuries they've got, but I think massive credit goes to them. That's the team that's probably caused us the most trouble. That in the first half, throwing the ball about, getting down quick. They had some dangerous plays, and we had to hang tough quite a bit in that game. But I just thought a bit like last week, we changed at half time, got the messages across, changed how we were going to play, and then. I thought we executed it really well, and it looked really controlled in that second half.
What do you think is what are you struggling with in that first half? Because for the second week in a row, it seemed like it was tough out there for you.
Yeah, it's just we're doing some good stuff in there, but we're just not pulling the whole game together. Just little knockoffs. I thought we got a set away, and we were in the battle with them at the beginning of the game in the first 5-10 minutes. We were kicking in corners. We talked about building pressure on the team and trapping them in their half, but we were just letting them off early plays, and they have such dangerous outside backs, getting the ball down quick, finding offloads. They wanted to spread the ball as well, and if they're getting it quick, you have to condense some of the space on the edges. So it's now it's a difficult first half. We were pretty tired going into half time. That took a lot of energy out of us, but like I said, I thought we'd improved in the second half and showed a lot more control.
I just want to ask you quickly about your head coach, Darryl Powell, who achieved his 300th win tonight as club coach. You both came to Castleford in 2013. You've been playing underneath him for a pretty long time now. What is he like as a coach?
Oh yeah, he's knowledgeable. He's up there with the best coach in the world for me. He's probably the best coach I've had. So no, he's a person that demands high standards. He sets high standards, and he leads the way in that kind of stuff. And he's just a great leader on and off the field, and a good bloke.
Michael Shenton, congratulations. Go and collect your trophy.
Well, 22 unanswered second half points means the Castleford Tigers go home with 2 competition points, and they retain the Roger Millward trophy. Michael Shenton about to receive it. Shaped, of course, in the number 6, retired by Hull Kingston Rovers after Roger Millward's passing. His hometown team, the Castleford Tigers, take home the trophy. Roger, of course, spent 25 years at Hull Kingston Rovers as player and as coach. Neil Hudgell, the chairman here, has said he's the club's greatest ever player, coach and captain. And his memory will live long in the minds of players and fans of both Castleford Tigers, Hull Kingston Rovers and rugby league fans in general. Let's hear from one of the Hull Kingston Rovers players now. He had a second half chance there to cross the line, unable to get it down. Sean Kenny-Dell is with Jenna Brooks. Jenna.
Thanks, Brian. Sean, it is now 4 straight defeats for Hull KR. What do you put this struggle down to?
Oh, I think it's very disappointing. To have 4 losses to start the season. We've got to stick together and work hard and try and turn it around.
And no doubt a number of injuries as well.
Yeah, it is. It's tough, but we've got to, find a way. And the boys that come on, the 17 that come on the park, we've got to, be better than that. And like I said, we'll keep working hard and come back next week with a good attitude and have a positive mindset and bounce back.
Lots of positives to come out of that first half in particular, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think if we can put 2 halves together like that, we'll be pretty competitive. But I think they started getting the ascendancy in the back end of that first half, and obviously we went down to 12 men, and early in the second half that really hurt us, and they went home with it. So there is some positives, but like I said, we've got to be in the game for 80 minutes, and hopefully we can turn it around next week.
Thank you for talking to us.
Cheers, Jenna. Thank you.
I have Daryl Powell here now. Congratulations, your 300th win as a club coach. You have a win ratio of 64%. How about that?
Yeah, very nice. Just before we get started, just a couple of people. Obviously, we're playing for the Roger Millward Trophy tonight, and we spoke about how he's from Castleford, but he spent most of his time at this great club, and it meant a bit to us today. It's good to pick that trophy up and just to remember a man like that. And then obviously Mossy, I know he watches all these, but we're all thinking about you at Castleford. He's a tough man and he'll fight his way through this. So I know he didn't get the result he wanted tonight, but we're thinking about you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, everyone is. Daryl, what would you say was the most pleasing aspect of that game? I'm assuming the second half, and again, keeping your opponent scoreless.
Yeah, it was carbon copy really of last week, even the sin binning at the start of the second half. So, yeah, there's some things to fix up, but we're battling back and we're showing a lot of character. And I thought OKR played really well in the first 20-25 minutes of the first half and put us under a lot of pressure. They've been moving the ball consistently, and teams are difficult to play against when they do that. So, they deservedly led, and we were struggling to get a grip in the game. We weren't kicking that great, and they deservedly led, as I've said. And for us, we were breaking them up, but they made a few errors on the back of that. I thought second half we were really professional, and we kicked the ball better. I thought we built our way into the game. We started really well again. So. So that's the most pleasing thing, I suppose, second half and not conceding points when we've had to sort of get our heads around being really challenged by the opposition.
Daryl Powell, congratulations on your 300th win.
Thank you very much.
We'll bring your opposite number in now. Tony Smith, bad luck tonight, but plenty of positives to take out of that first half.
Yeah, the first 32 minutes wasn't bad, but after that it's pretty tough. Tough to watch it at times.
Ryan Briley's yellow card, what did you make of that?
I didn't think it was a penalty. So to get a sin bin out of it was, I think you're allowed to compete with your shoulder when you're competing, 2 people going for the ball, but I'll have to check that rule and see if it's still valid. But, I had a couple of years out, maybe it's gone. But, it wasn't just about that. That made it tough for us. We're a team that need all our players on the park and firing well to compete, and to go a man down, and when we weren't quite on it in that second half, made it really tough for the remainder of it, and we saw some pretty average stuff to come after that, but we'll pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and aim up again next week.
Absolutely. What do you think will be the biggest challenge this week for the boys?
Oh no, listen, there's all sorts of challenges we have. It's always against the opposition, it's not against ourselves. It's we're out there with a positive outlook, and we've got Big Moss sending us messages, and he keeps inspiring us, and we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We just keep fighting away. It's not all pretty at the moment. Hopefully we'll get some troops back in the next coming weeks as well, a bit more experience on the park at times. But at the same time, we're gaining experience. Some of it's not good experience, but we're gaining experience, and we'll learn from it, and we'll keep swinging away and fighting hard.
Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, they'll swing their way into a very difficult line of fixtures coming up. Just confirmation of the final scoreline, 28-8. Hull Kingston Rovers now will prepare to face Wigan away, Lee in the Challenge Cup, then Toronto, Warrington, St Helens and Hull FC here in the big Good Friday Easter game. So If not daunting, certainly difficult. Okay, let's have a look at the table. The Castleford Tigers now out in front on top. 8 points for them. They're 2 points clear of the Huddersfield Giants, who of course have played 2 games less. Hull Kingston Rovers stay second from bottom on just 2 points. Let's have a look at the stats after 80 minutes. And they will reflect, of course, the dominance in the score line as well. Possession 55, it swung after the first half, 55% to Castleford, 45 to Hull Kingston Rovers. Look at the metres made, 1,623 for the Tigers, just over 1,000 for Hull Kingston Rovers. And I can tell you as well, breaks were 13-1 in favour of the visitors. Let's go to John Wells at the touchscreen to take us through, well, an entertaining second half, and certainly from a Castleford perspective, a very good second half.
Yeah, 22 points scored in the second 40 minutes, and all of them belong to the Castleford Tigers, the visiting side, who deservedly win, I think, after a patient second 40-minute display. But it took this controversial incident inside the first minute of the second half. Briley, a judge, to consider a professional foul there against Grant Millington. He was awarded yellow. Danny Richardson made the scores level. And then on 48 minutes, Richardson got off the end of a pass that prolonged the play from Adam Milner. Then came James Clare's try again. Adam Milner, worth the mention in dispatches here, enabling the Castleford Tigers to prolong their plays and get to James Clare in the corner. 8 points to 20. Another Richardson penalty followed, and then Jake Truman with a really timely try-saving effort on 65 minutes, a really threatening position for the Robins there. And the final points of the game came from Mike McMeekan. A 20-point winning margin then for the Castleford Tigers, and I thought, particularly in the second half, forwards such as Grant Millington and Daniel Smith really took it to that Robins defence. But my game breakers this evening are 2 young halfbacks for the Castleford Tigers, Danny Richardson and Jake Truman. Let's take a look at both of them in action. I'm going to pick up Danny Richardson here, and this is what the Castleford Tigers signed him for. He is a really instinctive player, a man with an eye for the gap and geared up towards attacking rugby. Yes, there's some things to iron out there in defence, but he is a real danger and a real threat. And then Jake Truman, another instinctive player, a natural player. And again, once Adam Milner prolongs this play, have a look at this for a knowledge and awareness of where the Hull Kingston Rovers defenders are. He could feel the presence of that wedge in defence and found the pass on the outside. Again, these are simple training ground moves. These are moves that they would run all day long, but it's very different in the pressure of play. He makes it look so easy, does Jake Truman. Sits down the defender in front of him here and then just puts Mike McMeekan away. So Jake Truman finished with a try saver that we saw there in the tries edit, and 2 try assists. Danny Richardson, 16 from 28 points scored, belonged to him. Flawless from the boot, flawless from the sideline. And the Castleford Tigers have got 2 young, dynamic English halves there to spearhead their charge for Super League 2020.
Yeah, thanks very much, John. We'll see them in action in front of the Sky Sports cameras next week against Warrington Wolves over at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. Then they got St Helens, Salford and Leeds coming up. Well, let's talk about the Castleford Tigers first and foremost. I mean, 2 pretty accomplished performances, Barry McDermott, week after week, particularly in the second half of both.
Not perfect by any way. And I think you get the feeling that there's still a lot more growth, a lot more development within that squad. But interestingly, when we were looking at the numbers, sometimes the stats of a game don't tell you the full story. But you mentioned that Hull KR had made 1,000 metres, Castleford made 1,600. They'd done it off 20 less carries, so obviously making more metres per carry. And I think it probably tells the tale of where Hull KR played this game, constantly under stress, only inching their way forward, while Castleford Tigers were making break after break after break, 13 in total.
Fair to divide up the game in a good 20-minute period for the Hull Kingston Rovers side and 60 minutes under the pump by the Castleford Tigers.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, Brian. I thought it was a really positive start. I thought we challenged Castleford. We threw the ball about. We created opportunities, and then the game sort of flipped, and Castleford had all the possession. They were making so many clean breaks down the middle. It's a real worry for us, I think. Our sort of defence around the marker area, the A defender, Paul McShane, who we spoke about a lot before, pre-game, had a field day there.
Well, what's the origins of that problem down the middle? You referenced the breaks down the middle, and it was significant. Paul McShane, as you say, cut you up in the middle. But what's happening defensively? Talk us through defensively what the problem would be.
It's the collision and the previous play of the ball. I think we're losing the collision. markers not getting set, defenders not realising that the markers are not set, not tightening up enough, and people, it's just sometimes players miss one-on-ones. That's a poor effort from Jez. Jez will be very disappointed with that. But we spoke about it. Paul McShane is a very, very clever player, and if you give him opportunities, he's going to take advantage of it. And
still wide around the play of the ball. We talked about it a couple of times that even though Castleford Tigers were making those breaks around the middle, Danny said it before, the defensive line didn't compress, it didn't come in, it still looked at the width of the field as that was their area to defend. No, it's where the ball is. The ball is always the threat.
I want to go to the sin binning a minute in. I mean, Hull Kingston Rovers well positioned under the pump in the first half, but they go in front at half time. They come out a minute in. Ryan Brierley's walking off the field. Tony Smith had a major issue with this, Danny. Yep. People may say unsurprisingly because of your position at Hull Kingston Rovers, but talk us through why you had such a problem with the referee's decision here.
We had a debate here as well, Brian. We all had different opinions on it, but Ryan's there trying to save a try. He's putting his body towards the ball. It's a 50-50 contest, and again, I just think it's two players going for the ball, and my opinion is I don't think it's a yellow card. I could see why the referee probably could give a penalty, but I don't think it's a yellow card.
Barry?
Well, I didn't see it that way when it was live, but the minute we had that debate, I saw the point of view and perspective that Danny's talking about, and I think the argument is fair. And it is literally a 50-50 call. It was harsh. It was harsh for the yellow card. And ultimately, it tipped the balance, didn't it?
Well, it did.
They were scrambling for the next 9 or 10 minutes, and then boom, the momentum.
It resulted in a Danny Richardson penalty to level the scores up at 8 points apiece, and the James Clare no chance. Matautia, who was very good tonight, had a very good chance. Minchella held him up. Danny Richardson scores a try, 14-8 in favour of the Castleford Tigers, and then a brilliant opportunity for Elliot Minchella.
Yeah, I don't think you realise what an actual sin binning takes out of you. It takes a lot of juice, but this is a great opportunity, great play from Sean Kenny-Dowell, and although the ball was a little bit behind Minicella there, I think in that situation there you've got to take them opportunities. In Super League they don't come along often, and you've got to take them opportunities if you want to win these games.
There's an interesting story with Elliot Minchella. Bill mentioned it. He began his career.
We'll
at
be the
Leeds
judges
Rhinos.
of that, Barry.
He went to Sheffield Eagles after that. I'm going to educate you now, Brian. So. Went to Sheffield Eagles after that, then Bradford Bulls, so he's done it in the divisions below, so he's had to learn his trade. He's played a lot of half-back. He's coming on at 9 here at Hull KR because he's got that adaptability towards his game. Is that okay? Is that interesting?
Well, everybody's got a different definition of interesting. There's no doubt about that. Look,
we're never going to win that, really, were we?
It's four defeats on the trot now for Hull Kingston Rovers. We talked about, and Tony Smith has referenced this pre-match. He said, I want to make sure my guys stay upbeat. Importantly, I want to make sure the support here stays upbeat because they're a vocal support here. A lot of them are streaming out a little early here. Did you get the performance? I might already know the answers. Did you get the performance that you wanted? If not, the result?
I'm not so sure, Brian. I think, I was pleased with the start of the game. I thought there was a reaction from a couple of disappointing performances in the previous weeks, but it needs to be maintained for longer for me. I think, especially the class of Castleford, you can't go with Castleford for 10, 20 minutes because their experience, they've been involved in some big games over the last few years, and they'll play for 80 minutes. And I think we just sort of lost the collision, lost the ruck, and everything sort of snowballed and spiralled, and we just couldn't handle it. And obviously, Cass run away with it in the second half.
Okay, we can get the thoughts of Will Dagger, played at full-back today, and of course, no Adam Quinlan, one of the absentees. Will Dagger, very talented player, played at the full-back. Here's what he thought about that game. Here's with Jenna.
Will, at the end of that 80 minutes, would you say it was a satisfactory performance or below par?
I think the first half we were satisfied with. Maybe the first 35 we were happy with, and then I think the last back end we just dropped off, and second half we come out, and I don't think we put what we did in first half into second half. I think that's one thing we can go away and work on massively.
What do you think changed from the first half to the second half?
I'm not sure. I think it was just obviously first half we were playing on them and playing fast on them. We had a lot of push and support, but I think second half we kind of died off, and we kind of just felt back into one out carries, and in Super League that's not going to happen.
Next week you have Wigan, another tough challenge. What do you think, what are some of the challenges that they'll pose?
You know, the big physical pack. I think, you know, it's just going to be the same again. We've got to out-infuse them and play fast as we can. And, you know, I think we've got to take it bite at a time, each game. And I think if we do that, we can be in with a shot.
Yeah, well, we'll go and get warm. Thanks for talking to us.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, worth reminding you how cold it is here when that wind kicks up. I'd be glad of the warmth of the studio. Let's talk about Castleford as we put a cap on this game. I mean, competent, really, two really competent performances. And John's touched on the half-backs there. I mean, you're one of the best to ever play in Super League in halves. What's your thoughts on how that development is going this year?
Yeah, I've said it before. I really like the combination. I really like the triangle of McShane, Truman and Richardson. I think they complement each other really well, and they're going to be very dangerous all year. I think they're getting the more experience now. I think obviously, you know, Darryl Powell and his backroom staff are, you know, fantastic with the game plans. But I think Castleford over the last few years they've been involved in some big games. They've been in playoffs, and I think they could do something good this year.
Danny Richardson with a spring in his step as well. I mean, off the radar totally last year, 2018 Dream Team, and you can see him bob around now. The chest is out, you know, and the stride is back.
You knew when he got that ball, he was always going to step off that right foot of his, because when he gets the ball in that situation, he wants to score. He wants to be the centre of attention. He could do a lot worse than look at the play and the charisma of somebody like Bobby Goulding. Both Widnes lads, both players who demand that presence. Bobby Goulding was a force of nature. I'm not sure they're the same character, but to look at the way that he dominated a game, I think Danny Richardson could learn a lot from the way that Bobby was.
All right, guys, let's touch on the game tomorrow at Emerald Headingley Stadium, Leeds against Warrington. Barry, we discussed this at length. I pitched it to you this way, and I want to see if you'll go with this. For the Leeds Rhinos fans, to get a win against Warrington tomorrow might have them believing that if not the good times are coming back, then the good times can't be that far away in the future. This would be a significant milestone in this team that's redeveloping.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Brian. I think it's a real crossroads game for Leeds. I think they've started, barring the whole game first up, I think they've started the season really well, and there's some very positive signs coming out. A great win against Salford at the weekend, and Warrington, everybody knows how good Warrington are. You know, great performance against St Helens early in the season. I think for Leeds to get a win over Warrington tomorrow would send a real message that you know that the Rhinos are going to be a force this year.
The question might be, Barry, what Warrington they face. So good in beating St Helens, really outstanding, and could potentially have lost the game to Toronto. That's not being disrespectful to Toronto, but it was a game many people expected Warrington to win, and scoreline perhaps didn't reflect how close it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Toronto came back into it and made Warrington Wolves sweat a little bit. I think maybe the issue for Steve Price, he's got that many different options available to him. He doesn't know which spine is his best. He's 1, 6, 7 and 9.
Well, Matty Ashton's out now with a hamstring injury, unfortunately for him, so that maybe
but the last couple of weeks he's had to accommodate players, he's had to move players. Steph Ratchford, when he played in that game against St Helens, was phenomenal at standoff, but again, to accommodate the players that he has available, he had to shift and move things around. I do agree with you though, a good game, a good victory at Headingley in front of a bumper crowd could really fill the tyres, air the tyres of the Leeds Rhinos. At last, in terms of the Leeds Rhinos, they've got an embarrassment of riches themselves. There will be 19, 20, 21 players that you can all look at them and say they're top quality players, and the ones that don't make the starting 17, that will show the strength of the Rhinos. I think Joe Greenwood, we didn't really talk about him before the game, but Joe Greenwood's signing's a great one. Gives a lot of presence, a lot of power, whether he goes in the middle or the edge, and what's the best thing about it for me is he's British.
Yeah, yet to see whether or not he'll play. Certainly named in the 21, big pickup for the Leeds Rhinos.